I'm going to go now.
Okay.
Soyeon, it's lovely to see you again. You were the chair of one of our immaculate and perfect judging groups this week for the Festival of Media APAC Awards. How and what did it feel like to be the chair of the jury? And I suppose most importantly, what did you get out of it?
Okay, thank you, Jeremy, first for giving me the opportunity to do as the chair of jury for the Festival of Media Award this year. And I think it was really rewarding experience. Of course, I had to put a lot of hours to just review all the submissions and then give the feedback. But at the same time, as a marketer myself, I could really see a lot of insights and the interesting ideas about how marketers actually turned these difficult times, challenging time in 2020, into an opportunity to maybe write a new narrative about their brands and how they approach to their consumers using mobile devices and other media channels that is actually very strong in their each country. So I think that was really interesting thing. I think the difficult part maybe was when we were judging with other judges. So I had 11 other juries to discuss about the campaign and then make the finalist. And then interestingly, everybody had different opinion, and everybody's favorite campaign was different for different reason. So we had to discuss and then spend a lot of time to really exchange our thoughts and then decide on which one needs to really win the award. So I think that was actually a challenging part. It was not really easy because all the campaigns were really good.
Great, and that's wonderful to hear. And that beautifully dovetails into the next question, really, in terms of what did you think of the standard of the work, and did you think it was a fair representation of what's been happening across the APAC region over the last 12 to 18 months?
Yes, I think I was actually surprised that how the quality of the campaign didn't really get lowered in this situation, because personally I know as marketer companies actually reduce the budget, right? And then budget is actually such important part for the marketers to think about your campaign ideas. But with this limited budget, and then also consumer behavior also changed during COVID-19 situation, but then still people really came up with brilliant ideas to leverage about these things. So some campaigns really used less of the budget, but then still was very successful about creating some viral effect among the consumers. And some campaigns really changed the way how they approach the users compared to before, right? Because now people are more staying at home and then staying at the using their smartphones. So I think those things are actually very interesting to see. And one thing that I was surprised about is that among all these campaigns that represented APAC, and then the campaigns are actually submitted from all different parts of the APAC, right? I thought probably people would use mobile advertising as their main channel. So I was kind of guessing that it's going to be the majority of the campaign and the majority of the media selection for their campaigns. But interestingly, I found out that I was really how can I say, I was really into my own world. I'm sitting in Singapore, right? So I was just seeing the APAC from the, angle from the Singapore, standard of the campaign. And from different parts of the countries, for example, in India, they still use radio because it's most effective way to reach out to different people. And then in Indonesia, still TV is, very economic way to reach out to people compared to other countries, because for example in Korea and Japan TV is extremely expensive, but for Indonesia still it's affordable even compared to the digital solution. And in Australia also I see a lot of cases actually still using the traditional media, and then it's very strong channel to reach out to the consumers. So I thought it was very interesting to see how different countries actually use different media channels and also different way to reach out to their consumers.
And that's really interesting. I mean, that really is interesting, particularly to see the different quirks from the different countries as well within the region. And your point there as well about actually, thinking about how one way might operate in one country, but then looking further out. And I suppose one of those key trends you must have seen is just people being much more creative because they had smaller budgets. So being a lot more creative is always good. And you know, there's a few trends you picked up on there. Was there any kind of key kind of trends that you noted across the region, or was it very different? Was there any kind of one trend? I remember at the start of the judging, a lot of the group were very interested in what, I suppose, cause marketing essentially, and what had happened from a cause perspective. Did you come across any kind of trends that seem to flow all the way through all the campaigns?
Yeah, I think maybe like, you know, different juries will choose like, you know, different trend, right? Because like, you know, people like to see like, you know, what they think is important, right? To me, one thing was interesting is that you don't one thing that was interesting to me was that, like, you know, you don't need a lot of budget. So some campaigns were very successful without having, like, you know, lots of budget. So for example, I think in Australia there was like a biggest camp out campaign, and then what they did was, like, you know, basically they created the social posting and then using the hashtags, like, you know, asking people to camp out on their yard. So like now they cannot really go to mountains or rivers, travel around, right? So they're inviting people to just out at your own yard, right? And then just, like, you know, hashtag this, and then that went viral. And then they used, I think, very little money. I cannot remember the exact amount, but really very little money. But then it went viral, and then that actually helped them to increase their sales of the camping items. So I thought that was very smart. And then another thing was, like, in Indonesia, the Burger King campaign, and then they collaborated with PUBG, which is the game, mobile game. So this PUBG community is actually very big. And then during this COVID situation, not many people actually dine out. So they were seeing the decrease in their sales from the Burger King side. So they thought about reaching out to this big game community, and then converting them to become, like, you know, Burger King Burger King consumers. So people can just, like, you know, order using their mobile phone while they're, like, doing games, and then they can download the coupons and then just order from the Burger King apps. So with this kind of, like, you know, smart collaboration, they didn't use any media money. So the budget was just, like, you know, went into this collaboration creation with the PUBG. So they created some in-app items, and then they created, you know, specific coupon for PUBG, the community, and then they could actually drive more than 150,000 app download from this campaign. Yeah, and then the daily sales also went up more than 40%, which was really, like, you know, phenomenal. So I thought that was really interesting thing, that you don't always need, like, you know, really big budget to make the campaign very impactful. So yeah, I think that was one of the things. And then the second thing is maybe extension of what I just shared about the Burger King campaign. But there were other companies like, you know, KFC and some other fast food companies also collaborated with the mobile game companies, because they noticed that, you know, when you're doing gaming, right, you're just at home and then you want to quickly eat and move on, right? So that's the right audience to reach out to. So, like, understanding about this audience and then whom to go out to, that was actually, I think, very smart approach that I could see from the submissions for this year's Festival of Media Awards.
No, fantastic. And I think the beauty there is you've just picked up on the work that was done in different parts. So it wasn't just Australia, it wasn't just Indonesia. It's a real mix of countries really producing great work. And we often find at Festival that Asia really helps drive our global as well. So, you know, companies and campaigns that do well in the Asia version often go on to do very well at global as well. So that's fantastic. Was there anything that took you by surprise? I mean, the comment about mobile is fantastic, but was there anything that you thought, wow, that really kind of blew my mind because it was such an amazing campaign or such an amazing idea?
Yeah. There are many, right? To be fair, there are many, because I reviewed, I think, like, you know, over like maybe 50 campaigns.
Wow.
But if I have to choose one, then I think I'll choose the Magnolia Chicken campaign that happened in the Philippines. And I'll choose it because it's very unique in a way. It was not just a marketing campaign, but beyond that, actually, it changed the distribution channel of this Magnolia Chicken as the business, and also it helped the local economy in a way during COVID-19 situation. So what they did is basically like, they made it easier for people to get the chicken. So from the consumer perspective, like I don't need to go out to market to buy this Magnolia chicken, because like people would be worried about like going out and like contact with other people during COVID-19 situation. So this Magnolia chicken will then deliver the chicken to you. So it's easier for me to get the chicken from
Right.
the distribution channel side. Then they will need more people to distribute this. So from the company side, they needed more resellers. So what they did was they used the social channel to recruit more resellers. So those people who have like the communities in the neighborhood, they could actually apply to be the resellers, and then they don't need to pay deposit. They don't need to pay the prepayment kind of stuff to be the resellers. So it's actually like very good opportunity for those people to get the job and then get some incomes, during this pandemic season, because many people actually lost the job. So I thought it was really like brilliant and then also beautiful kind of ecosystem within the Magnolia business, so that like it's easier for consumers, and then also like it create new job for people. So like local economy also gets boosted, and then also they get like another way of distribution channel, which is good for the business too. So I thought it was quite a surprise to see some like smart campaigns like this.
Brilliant. Well, it'll be very interesting to see what the judges thought and whether they pick up a trophy at the ceremony. So that will be really interesting. And then I suppose that, Soyeon, the last question from our perspective, the last couple of questions is basically, would you importantly recommend being a judge on the awards? And if you,
Yes.
and how important do you think awards are if they're revered and people value them to the media and marketing industry?
Okay, I think, okay, first question first. So will I recommend people to become a jury for this kind of awards? Yes, why not, right? Because I think as the marketer, and then at the point that if you are offered to be a judge, then you will be maybe leading a team of the marketers, right? What is really important is like learning about what's happening around you. So like oftentimes when we are running the campaign, we always look into me, myself, my competitors, maybe broadly my industry only, but I don't really get to see like other industries and how they're doing, like unless I really invest my time and then look for the examples. But I think this is really like collection of all these great examples, and then they compile the best for you, like for 1 year, right? So I got this like best campaigns from you, best developed media, about all the campaigns that happened over the year last year across APAC. So it was really like, how can I say, like gift pack that I could open and then just like learn, and then also like get some inspiration from other campaigns. So like though like I need to say that it's not like just 1 hour investment job. You will need to put like little more hours to review and then like judge in the end. But then still it's really rewarding experience too, because you get to learn about what is happening, and then you get to also see how others are doing that can influence your own campaign. So I would definitely recommend other marketers to also take this role when they get offered. And then the second thing, like why is it important to have this kind of award in the industry, right? I think it's kind of like human intuition, like everyone wants to get recognition. When they do a good job, then they need to know that actually like they did a good job, so that they can move on to even better job, like next time, right? It's going to give them some motivation, and it's going to give them some energy that okay, I did a good job, and then next time I can maybe learn from here and then create even greater thing. So that's why I think having this kind of like award is important in the industry. And then also like this is again I think same reason as why I recommended people to consider the jury job, right? So it can also let you learn about what is happening out there as well. So even if you're not really jury, still as I think participants, you can also get to see like how others are doing in different industry in different countries, and how like differently they're creating the key messages and then approach to people in a different way. using different media channel. So I think it's going to be a great learning too. And especially when you're working for global companies or regional role, then oftentimes you look into different countries. So in my case also, I look after more than 9 countries, and then each country has very different local nuance that I cannot really sit in Singapore and then master it, right? So
Yeah.
by seeing this kind of local campaigns, because there are some campaigns that was built in Myanmar, and then there were designed in India, and then they really go to their market and appeal to their consumers very well, then I can also learn from those campaigns about how I can do better for the next campaign. So I think this kind of award and program can be also very good learning platform for the marketers overall.
Fabulous. Well, thank you so much for some great insight and some great answers. I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing you next Thursday, where the winners will be revealed. Obviously, you're sworn to secrecy until then, but it should be really good. Thank you very much.
No, thank you, Jeremy. And I'm also curious about other winners, because I didn't judge